Canada, India Chamber of Commerce, Canada, China Business Council. So their names may be different, but the nature of those organizations is the same. So yeah, those are organizations. They have events, some of them more often, some of them less often, where you can network, where you can pitch your trading business and maybe meet some partners. And they can also help you to find information about specific markets you're interested in. Yes?
I want to share a lesson I learned while importing from China, where I went there and so they would offer me products which are copies of brand names, so they're not very to be careful about copyright and trademarking issues. And so while I avoided many of them, but I still got caught. I brought in some color yourself pillowcases, on which there was some motive that you had. But those are like the adult coloring motive that you can color yourself. Mm-hmm. And after you bring it here, then I was confronted because those are copyright designs by a designer. Right. So I had no choice but to destroy them.
That's your one. But yeah, well, this stuff happens. And if you're commercial, I mean, if you were to import it on your own, probably nothing would have happened. But if it's kind of commercial importation, then that's problematic. Stuff with Disney characters or Pixar characters. Don't get into this. I mean, again, if you went to, say, Disneyland and bought yourself a pillow with Mickey Mouse, that's probably fine. But if you have 50 of them in the back of your car, then you may get in trouble. This is, by the way, it's not really, this is a great example, and it's the example of intellectual property protection. You have to be careful, depending on, it's not applicable to all products, of course, but yeah, for sure. It's a great example. Okay, now maybe let's spend a couple of minutes putting our thoughts together. Please, if you have the ideas of the products, please think about them. Apply this few criteria and maybe try to select one or two products. Don't go with more than two. The reason is again that your budget is limited and your time is limited. It's probably, most of the cases, probably it's you on your own who will be marketing and selling. So it's better to focus on one or two products, or maybe sub-products or product categories, because it will be more manageable for you. Okay. But I'll give a couple of minutes to complete this exercise. Yes?
My question is, if you run into the intellectual property and copyright issues for certain designs, let's say, for example, you are exporting, let's say, a camping kit with like screwdrivers or some pliers with a certain design. How do you find, how do you search the internet to make sure that the product you have is not conflicting with any intellectual or trademark product? Is there a way to find that out? Like for simple things like maybe a knife or multi-tool, the switchblade or something like that. You think the camping, is there a way to find out?
I don't think there is a centralized way, but I would look into any branding. If it's under some brand, there are the database of trademarks. So yeah, there's different. There's a Canadian organization for intellectual property, I believe CIPO. It has the searchable catalog of all the trademarks that are registered in Canada, so I would start looking there. In terms of the design, I'm not quite sure if you can really copyright the design of the tool or a knife. Yeah, that's something.
Flyer.
Yeah, you know what? I would talk to some like IP lawyer or somebody like that. Yeah, maybe take half an hour with the intellectual property lawyer to give their best thoughts on it. Yes.
Especially for designs, you can patent them. So you can search Google patent. It's free.
Which one?
Google patent.
Google Patent? Oh, okay.
Google has the
Oh,
database
okay.
of all patents, registered patents. So you can search them for free.
Oh.
For knife or on a tool, and you get a whole list of patents.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that would show you if this particular, say, style of knife, or maybe the melt
Yeah.
or
Feature.
composition. Okay,
Feature.
interesting.
Google.
Google Patents. Apparently there is patent search. Google. Did you have a link? Is it good?
Google.com/patents.
There you go. Google.com/patents. Interesting. I better check it out. I have a couple of revolutionary ideas. I'm going to check it tonight. Thanks for the. Okay. Now let's talk about market selection. And there are a few steps in market selection, and it depends on a few variables. First of all, whether or not you have the product. Because when you're starting especially, you may be in two situations. You have the idea of the markets, but you don't know the product, or you have a product but you don't know what markets are the best. So the best way to answer those questions is to run some queries on international trade databases. So those databases show you the trade flows between the countries, and they can show you which products are most traded between countries. If you have the product idea but you don't know which market, you can also run a query and find out which markets are the most perceived to buy your product. And most importantly, you can also calculate the average product price. And you can see whether or not your product will be price competitive in the market. It shouldn't stop you. Your product may be more expensive. However, if you have other features and benefits that you can charge money for, sure, why not? Okay, so
Can we do a testing on the computer?
yes, absolutely. Let's let me see if I can get this work. Okay. So usually it works this way. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is the example of the United Nations country database. There were two links in the previous slide, but United Nations country database is more comprehensive because it shows you both export and import. The other one was the Canadian resource. It only shows the export from Canada. So I would, my preference is Comtrade. So let's do some real life exercises. And do I still have connection? Yeah, I do. Okay, here we go. Now I need the example from the audience, please. So let's first look up which countries are traded. Although let's take an oil, for example. That's the good example. So here's the interface. So you see a bunch of options. Now there are three groups of options. I don't recommend you to change these two options. Just leave it as is. Then you change the reporting year. There's not enough data for 2017 just yet, so I would recommend to change it to 2016. Then, depending on what we are trying to achieve, we alter these other variables. So, for example, reporters. Our goal right now is to find out which markets are buying Canadian canola oil. So that's why we change the reporters to Canada. And then the partners are our trading partners. We change world to all because the world will give us one number and all will give us the breakdown by country. And let's pay special attention to this field called trade flow. We select export. And then the last field that we need to change is the HS code. So the HS code is the 10-digit number, 10-digit classification code of the products. All tangible products are classified into 10 digits. The first 6 digits are universal around the world, and the last 4 are reserved for local statistical purposes. So, do you by any chance know the HS code? Okay, that's fine. So we can just type it in. If we knew the HS code, it would have been much faster, but let's just type canola. And I believe I ran into this issue a month ago. I believe this is the right way to do that. Yeah, there we go. So which one do you think is it? Okay, first of all, let's see if no, it's not oil. Oil seeds. Yeah, I believe. Vegetable oils. There we go. So which description fits the most? Do you think? 491. Crude. Okay. Vegetables. Okay, let's try this one. Yeah, again, I don't have exact HS code, but you can, yeah. You can, but it's going to just give you a little bit messy results. So I prefer just to give you an example for to do it once. You can later research the exact HS code and put it in. The best way for you to search the HS code elsewhere first, and then put first 6 digits. But let's see. Again, that's the life example. I haven't run this scenario before, so let's see what it gives us. Hopefully there is something. Yeah, there we go. So what I would recommend is to sort it. There we go. Sort it from largest to smallest. And here's what we see. We see that the global trade value was, what, 29 million? And most of it went to the United States, no surprise. However, there are some other markets, as you see, outside the United States that are, and it's very important, that are ready to buy Canadian oil at the Canadian price. That's important. And those markets are, as we see, Japan, South Africa, Philippines, St. Pierre and Miquelon. Anyone knows where it is? Does anyone know where it is? Anyways, other Asian countries, well, that's under $100. Unfortunately, in this example, most of the volume goes to the United States, but it shouldn't discourage you because the good point about this databases is that it can open your eyes, and you may look on this example and realize that you have, let's say, a friend in Japan, or your co-worker is from South Africa, and his sister still lives there, and apparently is married to a store owner or something like that. Things of this nature really happen. You have to really open your mind, and while looking into it, also try to rebuild and reestablish your connections abroad, because international trade is really about building connections. It is about building relationships, and this will at least give you the idea of what Yeah, yes, please.
I have a question, how to read this. So in the report it says Canada, so does it mean that when Canada was shipped to the world, USA, Japan, and the product was manufactured and produced in Canada?
Yes.
Okay, this is one thing.
Mhm.
Another, it says flag, it says 0 at the end of the column, but if I
Mhm.
have flags there, what does exactly mean? Is a wording?
Not really. Like, let's see. This is it. Like, it's here in the lower case, just like in your phone contract, something that you cannot really read without magnifying glass. Some things like no estimate. 0 is no estimation to quantity net weight. I don't know. That I would say ignore it.
Okay, and the second question is, for people who want to find out what kind of product
Yes.
is there a possibility, can we try?
Correct. Let's run this scenario. And now, in order to come up with the product, we need to know at least one country that you wanted to export from or import to.
Okay, let's say Canada.
Let's say Canada. Let's say we wanted to find which products are, imported to Canada.
I am going to export from Canada, let's say to Mexico, because I
Uh-huh.
know those markets.
Oops. Okay, so let's do exactly that. So we put 2016. The reason I put 2016 because there's not all data for 2017 yet. Check it in a few months or so. So we are exporting from Canada to Mexico. Okay, and we change the floor to export. Now, in order to find which products we are exporting from Canada to Mexico, we just do a little bit of magic here. So we put HS, and it gives you you just put HS, and it gives you a few options to, what's the level of details that you go into the classification. So, as I said, 6 digits are universal around the world, and each 2 digits represents the category, the product category. So, 2 digits is the highest category, if you will, and it gives you the general idea of what overall industries, if you will, are exporting the products. And as you go deeper, it gives you more and more specific results. So let's start with the more generic. Just because if we select 6 digits HS code, it will take quite a lot of time to load the data. So let's just, for the sake of this exercise, limit ourselves to 2 digits classification. And don't breathe. A very complicated query. Really. Let's try download CSV file. Here we go. There's probably, why was it? Anyways, so there's just a lot of details here, and it's quite a, 97 records. So it just didn't fit the online interface. So you have a choice to download the CSV file. Then what you do, you open it in Excel, and you have to do a little bit of data crunching here. So first of all, you need to apply a filter. Then you need to look for the column called this one, trade value in dollars. And we need to sort it from largest to smallest. And then we look into this column. So let me put it in yellow color for you. So what that means, we're going to expand it a little bit. Do you see that? Okay. So what it means is that #1 Canadian export to Mexico is like apparently Bombardier streetcars and trains. So the most #1 Canadian export to Mexico is, actually it's vehicle other than railway. So apparently maybe it's automotive, maybe it's agricultural vehicles, not quite clear. Again, if you choose 6-digit classification, it will give you more details, a better description. nuclear reactors, boilers, that's kind of not applicable. So you look into that list and then you critically decide for yourself whether it's the good opportunity for me. Nuclear reactors probably will not be the good ones for you, but here it is. Look at this, oil seeds. That's number 3, the third largest exporting category from Canada. You look into this and you start thinking, okay, who do I know in Canada who produces this particular oil seeds? Maybe you do, maybe you don't, maybe you know where to find them. So what this should tell you is, it should start your mind generating ideas how you can get into these products, or maybe you already know somebody who is in this business. See what I mean? Then you critically decide, okay, well, iron and steel, well, probably that's for a big corporation, aluminum, cereals. There you go, what is number 6 or number 7? Export from Canada to Mexico. Does anyone know cereals producers? There's not too many of them. Yeah, there's like Kellogg's of the world, but there are also small to medium-sized producers of cereals and breakfasts right here in the GTA. Yeah, they would love to. You probably don't want to approach Kellogg's of the world, but small to medium-sized manufacturers of these products could be your suppliers. Yes?
For vegetable oil, you showed that about like 98% of the exports go to the US.
Mm-hmm.
What at all? Try to sell or find an importer in the US at all, or should we look into other markets like Japan?
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. US may be your best market, for sure. Yeah, there's definitely a reason why so many Canadian goods are sold in the US. It's a big market and it's a good market. Very, not predictable after certain events 2 years ago, but at least the market that has similar legislation, similar business culture. So, I'm not saying you should not export to the United States. You absolutely should.
Isn't there anything about like market saturation, or wouldn't there be like way too much competition?
Yeah, that's another consideration, but yeah, that's kind of outside. Not the outside really, but these are all valid questions that you ask yourself after you identify maybe 2-3 candidates, right? And if you look into the workbooks, so the way we position it here in the exercise. Oops.